welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. Today we are coming to you from Perth in Western Australia, where we have a real treat for you for a guest. This guy's got quite the story to tell. He's a mate of Brentos's, so Brent is probably going to be able to tell you a little bit more about this guy, but I'm really hanging out to get to know a bit more about him. He is a brown belt out of Mach 1. He's done quite a bit on the competition scene, and he's got quite a story as well. He is Rinaldo de Paolis. Thanks for joining us, Rinaldo.
G'day all, how are you?
Yeah, awesome to have you here, Rinaldo.
Thanks,
the first time we met, I think, was at World Masters 2 years ago. You were a purple belt.
That's right.
You went out and you won that division, and were the World Masters champion. And then literally go back the following year and back it up and win World Masters as a brown belt, mate. So that was awesome to see. Tell us really quickly about like the purple belt and then the brown belt, and then let's get deep into your story, mate.
Yeah, no worries. So the first World Masters I went to was 22. I think that's when we met out at rolling. We were rolling at Legion or at Atos?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Legion.
Yeah. So that year was a pretty disastrous year for me. I got knocked out in the first round, and then I went back the following year and I got knocked out in the first round. And my wife says, if you don't win something, you're never going back to the US. So I went back to the no-gi worlds that year and won that. So that sort of vindicated the fact that I should be travelling to the US. So then last year, mid-year, I went back to the World Masters as a brown belt, and I won that division in gi. And then last year, I went back to the no-gi Worlds and won double gold as a brown belt. So I won my division and I won the open division as well. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a ride. Yeah.
Can I ask what your division is, Ronaldo? Are you comfortable to share your age?
Oh, absolutely. So this year I'm actually Masters 6. So last year was my last year as Masters 5. So I compete ultra heavy. I walk around at about 140 kilos and compete at around 130 to 135 kilos. So big unit, big, cuddly bear, but sometimes I don't realise how heavy I am, but it is what it is. Yeah,
I've felt the heaviness, mate, and it was literally put in all the right places too. And for people that have been under big units, you know that it sucks, but you also know that you've got to deal with it too.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, when big guys go on top of me, I feel the same pressure as well. So I know what it's like. It's not nice. I don't like it. That's why I prefer to be on top. Yeah.
What do you think switched, mate?
Sorry?
What do you think switched?
I think, sort of put it in perspective, I'm spending a bit of coin every year travelling just to compete, albeit we make a bit of a holiday with me and my wife.
Yeah.
And it's like, I am spending a bit of coin to go over there every year. I might as well actually give it a real go. So I've got a sort of a word in my mind that I use. It's not a nice word, but it sort of triggers me on the competition scene. And it sort of works. And one of the other things is I used to chat to all my competitors before I went out and friendly and all that. And Tracy, my wife, goes, "What are you doing? Like these guys, you got to compete. Be the nice guy after." So I sort of made the decision that I don't speak to whoever I'm competing against. I sort of get into a bit of a mindset. It's certainly not a skill or strength or stamina. It's really a mind game. So I need to get myself into that mindset to compete. Afterwards, I'm the nice, joking guy, having fun, cracking jokes, all that sort of stuff. Just typical Aussie bloke. But beforehand, it's really a mindset thing. I think, it's like you roll at the gym, you do open mat, you submit somebody taps you. It's all good and fun, Tapping's not losing in the gym. But on the competition mat, it's a different story. So it's really getting into that mindset. And to be honest, I struggle on the local scene because I know everybody on the local scene over here. So it's really hard to get that switch happening. But overseas, I I say to myself, these guys are sowing the same waiver as I have. We're all here to compete. We're all here. We've all spent money. I want it more. So that's just, it's really a mindset thing.
And Ronaldo, so as a Masters 5, Masters 6 athlete, and you were a purple belt, you must have started jiu-jitsu quite late. Is that right? At an age? No?
Not really. So I got my blue belt in 2003. So a long time ago. I started training around end of 2001. I got my blue belt in 2003 with Habby Heskey. Still part of Mac 1, still the same owner, good friend of mine. And I competed as a blue belt quite a bit around Australia. I even went to Japan to train with Yoshida when he was fighting Vanderlei Silva, so I was over as a sparring partner back in 2004, I think it was. So, it's going back 21 years ago. And then life caught up, typical blue belt thing, sort of life caught up and training became a distant past for me. So I had a really long break. I got back in 2012, trained for about a year and a half, and then had another break. And then, through all those years, Habby was always sort of on the phone on a regular basis when you're coming back. He sort of never forgot. We've been friends for over 25 years, right? So through his persistence, just after COVID, around 21, I decided to come back to the gym. And when I got back, I was walking around about 175, 180 kilos. I was a really big unit, and it was hard. Like I was really embarrassed about the whole thing, and I refused to do classes, only privates, because the first couple of months, it was literally trying to get up off the mat. Right, that was my story. It was like I'd get on my back and I couldn't get up. It took me about a good 30 seconds to 40 seconds to get to my knees, to get to my hands, and then to just stand up. It was a horrible situation. And people say that jiu-jitsu saved their life. In my case, it's the truth, right? So I lost a lot of weight, got my stamina back, and I thought I'd never going to compete again, because it's like, I'm in my 50s at this stage, and it's like I'm not going to, my competing days are over. But after a while, and before I got my purple belt, I thought, actually, I've got a bit of an itch. I might do something. So I did a couple of local comps and fared okay in those comps, and then it was like, why don't we go to the Masters? So we said, yeah, okay, let's do this. We'll make a bit of a trip with it. My wife came over. We did some travelling afterwards. And about 2 months before that, I got my purple belt in 2002. So it was like, oh, okay, now I've got to compete as a purple belt. Well, that was all cool. So I went over first year, deer in the headlights, seeing what's going on, really sort of amazed, and got knocked out in the first round by an advantage. So it was like, geez, that was pretty bad. But persisted, come back, did some more local comps, did the pan packs, won pan packs, sort of going, okay, well that was okay. 23 come along, did heaps of competing in 23, a lot of local, a lot of interstate comps, went back to the World Masters, and then that year also went back and won my first no-gi worlds with a purple belt. And then last year, 24, around May, I've been competing, won the Purple Belt League here in Perth, adults and Masters division. Been competing around, it's pretty hard at my size and my age to get a lot of guys to actually compete. So, doing a lot of comps as adults and, Masters 1 and so forth, and that's never bothered me. And then around May last year, I got my brown belt with Habby, and I was just blown away. And then had to go and compete at the Worlds as a brown belt in gi. So we went over. We sort of do a bit of training camp. Normally we go to Atos in San Diego, but last year we decided to go over to the East Coast. So a good friend of mine, Aaron O'Hare, we've been training together. Similar story. we've started in 2001 together. He's a high level purple belt. He should be brown belt very soon. We decided to go to Boston, train with Bernardo for a couple of days, and then went to New York and trained at Enzo's and Marcelo Garcia's with the rest of the crew, and then flew out to Vegas to compete, and ended up having three or four matches. My first one, because I was unseeded, was against the number one seed. Beat him by points. Semi-finals, beat that guy by submission, and then the finals won by points. And then that was sort of backing up the fact that I'd won the year before, and then I went back last year and won twice again. So yeah, it was fun, and amongst that, sort of, I think I've got 9 Pan Pac golds and a bronze as well, and so yeah, pretty active competing. Last year did heaps of comps. I think I did about 13 or 14 comps in total, and this year is the same. I've got my first comp coming up in 2 weeks, SGT here in Perth, which is the largest grappling event in Western Australia.
That's awesome. It's such a at that age, and this is the most polite way to put it, right? At that age, to just continue to put yourself out there is always phenomenal, mate. My question though, Rinaldo, is I hear this a lot. So you got your blue belt and then you had a big break and then you come back and you compete. Did you think about not putting your blue belt on? Were you kind of like, maybe I should go back to white belt? Like, what was that sort of thing like for you?
100%. Yeah, it was really challenging because it was a long time, and that was the other reason I didn't want to come back as well. Not only being embarrassed about my size and so forth, the fact that whatever I had up here that I tried to remember, my body just couldn't execute. And so it was a real challenge, and I had this real imposter syndrome coming back as a blue belt. When I left, I was good, and sort of probably the top half of the blue belts back in the early 2000s at the club. And when I come back, white belts, new guys, I couldn't do anything, right? So, and then you resort to trying to use strength, and then you're using strength, you're gassing out, and it's that vicious cycle. But it was just really that persistence. And it wasn't just me, it was the whole club. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu, is that there's no, if you find a club that is more of a community, like you guys have as well, there's no expectations. It's just like, do your best, right? And that's it. And so the support network was just phenomenal, right? Nobody was judgmental. There was no preconceived expectations. It was just camaraderie and support from the whole club, and that's really, I think that's jiu-jitsu in a nutshell. Like, there's, anybody comes into a mat, it's a universal language. You walk into a mat anywhere in the world, as long as it's not a McDojo or a full of bullies. It's the same ethos. Everyone's there to learn. Everyone's there to support each other, right? And it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's really what drew me back as well, knowing that community was there. It's just getting over my own fears. So for anybody that has had a break from jiu-jitsu or anything, it's just, and you get a fear about going back. There's an acronym that I've heard years ago, and it sounds corny, but fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. Just do it. No one's going to judge you. Nobody's going to have expectations. And if they are, you're probably in the wrong club.
Yeah. Something else you said, Rinaldo, that I wanted to touch on as well, that when you do compete, you don't mind, you go Masters 1, adults, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so I think last year at Pan Pacs, I had to compete Masters 1 in no gi, and Masters 4 in gi, and it is what it is. I just want to go out there and have fun. I have. This is not a career for me. It's a passion, and it's more than a hobby. It's a passion. It's what I love to do. It's the gym is really my second family. Um, Albeit my wife would argue that it's probably my first at times. Um, but but like it's just no expectations. Like I don't care who I'm rolling with. I don't care who I roll with at the gym. So why should I care in
Yeah.
competition? The guys are going to be faster. They're going to be, stronger. But they don't have. They don't. I don't believe that the younger guys have the tenacity of us older fellas. Like we got nothing to prove. This is, we're not making a career of this. It's a true love and it's a true passion. So yeah, purple belt league in Perth last year. I was competing against adults in ADCC here in Perth, the Perth ADCC Open. I compete against adults as well. If there's no masters, it doesn't worry me. I don't have a fear of getting hurt because that's the beauty about jiu-jitsu is if you're in a compromising position, you have the ability to tap. You know,
Yeah.
um, so don't ever fear that. You're going to do something that you're going to regret. Right? The only time you're going to regret is if you tap late. Mate, at my age, I don't care. I'll tap to anything that's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Tell us about the support that your wife is giving you. It's funny actually because my wife talks about this when I first started jiu-jitsu, and somebody actually said to her, "Oh, it'll be interesting to see what you're like as a jiu-jitsu wife." And she's like, "Oh, I will never be a jiu-jitsu wife. Like, I am always a priority for Brent, and I agree with that 100%. But when you have your partner's support on what you do, geez, it makes it better, eh?"
Oh, 100%. And I really, I say that it was Happy that was never pester me, but Tracy was always, you need to go back to jiu-jitsu. She knew what it was like when I was in my 30s and training. And, her support has been amazing. I can't speak highly enough of what Tracy's, it's whatever I've achieved, it's 100% Tracy. She has been so supportive of my jiu-jitsu. She's a big part of the community here as well. When it comes to competing overseas, she wants to come with me. She wants to be there on the sidelines. She's shouting. Even locally in the comps here, she comes to the comps. She'll wear the Mac One T-shirt. Last year, in fact, she organised because we had a fair sized crew go over to the World Masters and some other partners that come as well. She organised the Mac One competition team with all our names in the back and our belts in the back, and the support crew as well had T-shirts. And yeah, she's amazing. She jokes that that jiu-jitsu is my first love and the family's my second. But she's my rock. She's my everything, right? And if it wasn't for her, not only I don't think I'd be around physically, but I wouldn't be a jiu-jitsu. You know, um, she's at the barbecues when we're having barbecues for the club. She's cooking the barbecues. She's helping out. She's doing anything she can. That's just she's amazing. Absolutely. And
Love it.
my girls are the same.
I'm
So
sorry.
my oldest daughter does jiu-jitsu, albeit she's having a bit of a break at the moment. Um, and my youngest is here at the barbecues and supporting whenever she can as well. So yeah.
So good.
Tell us a bit about Mac One. That's probably one of the biggest gyms in Perth. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think we've had too many guests from that gym on here before. So, give us a bit of an insight into what it's like there as a member.
So what Habby and Linda have built here at Mac One is amazing. They've not only built WA's biggest jiu-jitsu academy, but also a community of like-minded people. Um, there is there is no there's like an unwritten no bullshit policy, right? There's no egos. Nobody's here to prove anything. Um, if someone with an ego walks through the door, they're either the mat humbles them and they become an amazing human, or they just don't come back. You know, and I think that's the same in most gyms. We have over 50 classes a week or 60 classes a week. We do
Wow.
jiu-jitsu, MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, yoga. You know, the open mat today, because it's a public holiday over here, the open mat today, there's 40 people rolling, and it's open to other clubs as well. You know, Happy's not about, the commercial side of always making money. He's just really about everyone learning. Um, Happy is a long-standing patriarch here in WA for jiu-jitsu, one of the first black belts in WA. Got his blue belt from Hickson Gracie back in '97, right? And yeah, it's incredible. I think that the gym is going through another phase of growth. We probably going to be looking for bigger premises. It's amazing what the guys have, what Javi and Linda have built here. They've built a real family community here that is unlike anything I've really seen anywhere else. You know, it's having trained at a lot of places around Australia and the US. Yeah, it's a real brotherhood and sisterhood of like-minded people.
It's an amazing feeling when you can walk into that gym, whether you're a new person walking in the gym because you feel it straight away and you feel so welcome
Yeah,
straight away, or whether you've been away for 2 weeks because you've been traveling and you walk back into the gym. It really is like putting the most comfortable shoes back on your feet, right? Like you're literally walking in the door at home.
yes.
And it's fantastic that Perth has that place, or you guys have that over there. Yeah,
And
it's credit to
imagine
the team.
you got the same with Link. And every time I meet you guys at comps, you know, Link is just the most welcoming person. You know, it's uh, it's it's the same. That's what I'm saying. You can walk into a lot of
Yeah,
places around the world, and you just know. You know, like
yeah,
walking into Legion in San Diego. It's just you just feel comfortable. There's
yeah,
no spider senses coming up. You know, nothing tingling. It's
no,
just comfortable. You feel safe. You know, and it's the same. And I don't think I've ever walked into a jiu-jitsu gym that I haven't felt safe or comfortable in anywhere.
mm,
And I certainly, at my age, if I walked into a place and I wasn't going to feel safe or comfortable, I'll probably just walk out. You know, like and find somewhere else. You know, yeah, yeah. Jiu-jitsu is It's an incredible sport, and it's actually more than a sport. It's really a lifestyle. You know, it
yes.
really is. Um, the other part of the
And
world
going
that,
back to,
yeah, sorry,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say the other part of the world that don't do jiu-jitsu, they're the odd ones. We're the normal crowd.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you, I don't know if you sort of glossed over it, but I wanted to talk a bit as well about that time when you came back
yeah,
uh, the second time around, that when you were saying that you went from sort of doing privates only to
yeah,
doing classes. How did you
yeah.
make that transition?
Oh, I
Because
think it was.
I think that's quite common,
Yeah, it is.
that feeling.
So I was doing privates with one of the black belts here, as well as with Habby, um, Ian, and it was like just need to come back and do a class, I do a private, and then a class would come up next, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're sticking around for a role?" He said, "No, no, I've got something to do." And it was just that support of not only the coaches but the rest of the team saying, "We want you back on the mat." You know,
Yeah,
um, it was hard. Like I couldn't do push-ups, couldn't hip escape, I couldn't do any of that sort of stuff. Mentally, my mind's saying, of course you can do this, but my body's saying, you got to be kidding. Um, but it really was the support network, and I say this a lot. It's not just me coming back to jiu-jitsu. It's not just me. It's the whole community, that supportive community that have allowed me to come back and that have welcomed me to come back and supported me to get back on the mats. Um, and if there's advice to anybody, you know, just just do it. Don't Whatever's holding you back is all in your mind. It really is.
yeah,
And if I had that attitude years and years and years before, I wouldn't have lost all those jiu-jitsu years, not because of the belts, but because of the camaraderie and it's like therapy to me. Coming to jiu-jitsu is
Yeah.
the cheapest form of therapy I could think of. It's just an amazing situation. But yeah, it's just the only thing holding you back is your own fears, it's your own doubts in your mind. Um, and I get that. I've been there. It took me, 19 years to get back. My kids used to joke that I was the longest blue belt in history. At 19 years. Um, so yeah.
I don't know. I think there could be others out there. There's some that are still going. Yeah, they didn't come back. So
No, that's right.
there's many.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
think you're correct. You really are correct though, Ronaldo. And I think one of the things that we have problems with ourselves is what we think other people are thinking about us.
Yeah.
And if we actually knew and realized people really don't think about you at all. Do you know
No.
what I mean? Like you walking onto the mats or me walking onto the mats, when I was 45, walking out there and thinking, shit, people are going to be looking at me going, what's this old guy doing? Like, what's he here for? But I don't think those thoughts go through other people's heads at all, but they go through ours, and then that's what
Yeah.
holds us back, right?
And that's that. That's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. It's our own mind playing games with us. Putting those false sort of thoughts into our mind, saying, you're right. What are we doing here? The reality is, age is simply a number. Jiu-jitsu proves that. Um, the nice thing about coming back as a older athlete is that we don't give a shit. Like it's a lifestyle, it's a hobby, it's a fun, it's our passion. I see a lot of the younger guys these days. I just want to be a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. Go for it. If that's what you want to do it. But
Yeah.
set realistic expectations. Whereas us older guys, we're sort of set. We've lived a few more years. We know that this is not a job for us. In fact, I never want it to be a job. I want it to continue to be a passion.
Yeah.
So I think coming back as an older person, we put these false illusions about what people think about us. But I think the younger guys might sit back and go, geez, I wish I had the money, had the time, had the attitude of these older guys as well. I think it's a bit of a furphy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think we get that where people sit there and go, oh, I hope I'm still doing, like, I hope I still do jiu-jitsu at your age, I hope I
Yeah.
can still do that, oh, you're 50, something. Oh, I hope I'm doing jiu-jitsu when I'm your age. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we hear that how often, and you look at that
That's
and you're
right.
like, well, why can't you? I'm sure you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just having to reverse the
Ronaldo,
cut.
what? All good, all good. What's next for you, Ronaldo? What's coming up?
So I've got competition-wise, I've got SGT here in Perth in a couple of weeks. And then I've already registered for World Masters um, in August. Going to try to go back to no-gi worlds at the end of the year. Tracy sort of wants to mix it up. She's saying, why don't we do Europeans? And I've gone, yeah, we could do. So I'm sort of trying to plant the seed now that do the World Masters, the World No-gi at the end of the year, go to Europe, spend Christmas in Europe, New Year's in Europe, bring the kids over, and then just hang around for a couple of extra weeks and then go do the Euros gi. So that's my ambition for the next couple of for this year and early next year is to do the Worlds a couple of times, do the Europeans, and just keep local scene over here and Pan Packs. Hopefully Pan Packs will be bigger and better than it was last year. It was a bit small and disappointing last year, but yeah.
Oh no, I think last year was bigger than the year before.
You think think so.
It's had a couple of periods after COVID. It was quite small. I feel like
Yeah.
last year's one was better than it's been the 2 or so years before, but it's certainly not what it was,
No, no, not at
years
all.
and years ago, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not
that's
reached that
right.
again.
No,
It's a shame
and
because it's the only IBJJF one in Australia.
that's correct. They used to have the Sydney Open too, didn't they? But
Yeah, since COVID, they've dropped them all,
yeah,
off.
um,
No money for it.
no. I think some of the guys from the gym are going over to the Asian Open. I'm not going to go because there's no one in my division, no one, oh, my age division and weight division. So it's no point just going to Japan for the sake of um, getting a gold medal unless I'm going to compete, right? And
Yeah.
the reasons why I like to do a lot of the smaller IBJJF ones is to get that seeding points. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, you know. Um,
Yeah, it's hard. We're so far away from everywhere else in the world. That
yeah,
makes it you in Perth or even further again because we're on
that's
the east coast. It's semi
that.
close, but you're an extra layer of
Yeah,
distance.
we're an extra 5 hours from you guys, but travelling anywhere from Perth is long, so we get used to it. It is what it is. So you can try and make excuses as much as you want that it's a long way, but shit, everything's a long way from Perth.
Tell us about your game, Ronaldo. So, don't give your secrets away, but what sorts of things are you enjoying doing, and what sorts of things are you looking at learning, over the next 12 months and put into practice for World Masters and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I prefer to play the top game, obviously, but if I'm not, I will always go to half guard. I've over the years really improved my half guard game, sweeps. Um, if I get underneath, I'll get the half guard and then sweep from half guard. Um, on top, I'm pretty much I like to play points. I like to rack my points up before I try and go for a submission. So I like to play the points game. Stand up, I've really been enjoying my judo. We had a judo um, guy here for a little while, a couple of years ago. He's gone now. I'm really keen to do some more judo. I really enjoyed it. Um, and my number one thing is just a nice foot sweep. It's just nothing feels better than just offsetting somebody in a foot sweep, and then so really improved my foot sweeps. So foot sweep to pass to knee ride to mount to submission. That's pretty much my go-to.
Perfect.
Yeah. If I'm underneath, I'll play half guard, sweep from half guard. Been playing a bit more butterfly lately. My big nemesis, I probably shouldn't say this, is feet. Foot locks, heel hooks, albeit masters, I don't have to worry too much about it. But when you're jumping into adults and ADCC, they're there. Heel hooks, I'm just doing defence at the moment. Just trying to defend it all before I can start attacking. But yeah, that's it. There's always something to learn. I'm never going to be a bolo guy. I'm never going to be an invert guy. I like the old school jiu-jitsu, the pressure game that we were taught back in the early 2000s. That's what I really enjoy.
Oh, Ronaldo, I have a husband that I think would love to roll with you. I feel like I'm listening to him here actually when you're talking about your game because it's you're very very similar by the sound of it. He's still a purple and he's just one age bracket down from you. But
Yeah,
hey, if you guys both keep competing, you may have an opponent over here
yeah,
and
no problem.
eventually in your own age bracket and weights class as well. So that'd be
Yeah, oh
awesome,
great,
awesome to
excellent.
see. We're not we're nearly out of time. I really appreciate you giving up some time for us today on your open, Matt. Do you have any final words for our listeners, Ronaldo? You've given us heaps to go on already.
Look, I
Mm.
think just keep rolling. You know, there's no reason why we can't roll until we leave this earth. Um, just enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously. You know, remember that it's a passion and it's a hobby and it's what we love to do. So tap early and longevity is a big thing for me. Recovery and longevity in jiu-jitsu. Supplement your training with weights. You can't, I'd rather be skillful and strong than skillful and weak. So this whole thing about don't use strength in jiu-jitsu, yeah, you use, like I said, it's like saying to me, don't invert and don't use your speed. Use the attributes you've got. Be sensible about it too, but supplement your training. Like if you're going to do jiu-jitsu, you need to be lifting weights, male, female. Especially as we get older, we lose a lot of our muscle mass as we get older. Yeah, that's really it. And just keep it in perspective. It's a passion. Keep it as a passion. Don't keep it as don't get angry with it. Just, for those that have supportive partners, we're so fortunate. Those that don't have supportive partners, just remember you can always find a new partner, but jiu-jitsu is always there. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I think one of the things for me, mate, is you talking about strength training and lifting. I feel like Link messaged you and said just say that so Brent starts to lift. So I think I appreciate you. I appreciate the push for sure. And the partner thing, yeah, mate, I agree. Like without the support of partners, if you have a partner in your life, without the support of the partners, it definitely makes jiu-jitsu harder, and it makes trying to do the things that make you a better person makes that harder, I think. And I think for most of us, jiu-jitsu does make us better as people, and it makes us, calmer and more relaxed and deeper thinkers and more socially aware and all of those sorts of things. So
Yeah,
I think
100%.
it's awesome advice.
100%.
Fantastic. Awesome. And it's really good to know there are blue belts that do come back and you can do it. So all those blue belts who've quit, if you're still listening to this podcast, please know that you can come back and still make it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Rinaldo, that was magnificent, mate. I knew it would be a great chat with you.
Thank you.
One of the things that I really did enjoy about like when we first met is exactly what we spoke about earlier. That friendly attitude. I remember you helping me with a couple of things that we were working on. So I really appreciate that. Javi was the same. So really appreciate you jumping on the podcast, mate. And I know that you'll share this with your friends and your teammates over there. Everybody else who's listening, thank you for listening. Remember, we've still got a couple of t-shirts left. I don't know if we've got Ronaldo size left. I think Theo might have grabbed those ones. We do have our athletic body care soap. So there's 4 flavors of that. Check that stuff out. It's awesome for you. That's it for another episode of Roll or Die. We will see you in a week's time. Keep an eye out for that one for our next new guest. That'll be fun. Everybody stay safe. As Rinaldo said, tap early. And if you're thinking about competing, people aren't going to judge you if you lose. And they're not just going to tap you on the back and think you're the most amazing person forever when you win either. So it's what's in your head. It's not what other people think. So jump in, have a go. Competing's fun. Do that. Enjoy. All the best, Rinaldo. All the best in a few weeks at SGK? SGT, that's the one. And we'll see you soon, mate. We appreciate it. Good luck for the 12 months ahead.
Thank you. See you guys. I'll see you around the competition circuit when I'm over east.
Perfect. Love it.